Peace, people. It's your brother Sa Nuaka coming at you with the next lesson, which is the seventh sphere of Het Heru. Het Heru literally means house of Heru. So we're talking about the origin of the vitality, right? The house meaning the home, right? Heru meaning life force, vitality, vibrance, right? So we're talking about the libido, right, in man on, his, among other things, right? Libido, that focus, and we'll talk about that more. When we're talking about the mind, we're talking about the faculty of creativity, the imagination in man, right? This is one of the programming tools, right, to be lumped in with the 8th sphere and the 9th sphere, right? These are your spheres of programming. So the imagination now is the thing that visualizes, right? Your ability to visualize, your ability to close your eyes and imagine another place, right? This is what draws the spirit into action mode to, achieving that which you imagine, right? You see things in your mind before they happen, before you make them happen, right? And that's all about this here faculty, this creativity faculty, right? This is where you get invention, right? You have invention over, say, discovery, which would be the Sebekian sphere, right? The 8th sphere again. Right? The 8th sphere comes in and says, what's this? Oh, okay, I can see a good use for this. Let's recreate it and do it over. Whereas now the Het Heru, the invention sphere, comes in and says, what's an unprecedented thing? How can we approach this thing in a way that's never been done before? How can we produce something that wasn't here before? That is the Het Heru faculty, right? It's invention. It takes from where there is nothing and it creates. It's creativity, right? Thinking process associated with this sphere would be congregative, right? Where things congregate, you bring them together, right? You take from things that are externally different and you bring them together to produce something, right? An example would be a song. I think I spoke about this before, or a musical composition where there's different notes and you come and you see these notes and you place them all together and they create a composition, a song, a track, right? As well, when you combine the Het Heru faculty with the Sebek faculty, you produce poets, right? Where, you have the formulation of words in a flow, right? Rappers, right, are a good example of that, where you have an external focus of the flow, right, that is put together with words, with that the words actually bring the idea home, right? But the flow is the Het Heru portion, right, where they link together in a cohesive way, words to rhythm. That would be, all Het Heru, right? Storytellers, where you take, different ideas and you just combine them all to make a story, right? You combine them in a succinct way, right? You bring in a Sebek faculty to put in the details, and, there you have a story, right? So we're talking about, when we say congregative thinking, right, we're bringing things together, right? A party would be a good example of a Het Heru involvement, right? Where, you have, what happens at a party is you take different people and you bring them together for different reasons, right? Generally, a party, we're coming together to listen to some music, to dance, shake a body or whatever like that, right? And this is actually a kind of a primitive use of the faculty, right? The Het Heru faculty And this congregative principle is what occurs when you have get-togethers such as a ritual, or even a Sunday morning sit down at church, right? This is where many people get together, and the energy of the group helps to influence the life force in terms of whatever the principle we're dealing with, right? So it enhances the energy of the group, enhances what the individual is doing alone, right? So that's the purpose of ritual. You see, what are these primitive people doing? They're out there having this ritual. That's the purpose. The purpose is to come together and focus on the internal spiritual principle as a group, right? So that the energy is, double, triple, enhanced, increased, right? We have the Freudian principle, or the Freudian psychology, the principle in Freudian psychology, which is called the pleasure principle, which is pretty much me and Freud, we don't get along like that, but Freud kind of hit it on the point when he said this one here, this pleasure principle. This is the instinctual seeking of pleasure and avoiding pain in order to satisfy biological and psychological needs. That hits Het Heru on the nail in terms of her, negative aspects, right? Is the driving force behind the id in Freudian psychology, which is the geb in comedic psychology, right? We spoke about the instinctive nature, right? That which doesn't think, that just has, instincts, and is motivated by, sensual and emotional stimuli, right? So it's the pleasure principle, that thing where you're seeking pleasure, you're avoiding pain. When we talk about the Bagua trigrams, right, the principle of Tui notes the external focus of joy, right? Happiness that comes from an external source versus an inner joy or an inner peace, right? A peace which can't be disturbed, right? That would be the highest ideal of the spiritual development system of ancient Kemet, the Osirian system, right? Versus, external, seeking, let me buy some earrings so I can feel good, let me get some, some fly shades so I can look good, that sort of thing. That when Het Heru comes up in readings, these are the things that you have to look for. How are you dealing with, things on an inner level in terms of your joy and your happiness, right? When inner peace is achieved, it is what now we can rely upon to see ourselves through the bad times, the rough times, right? Like, how does a prisoner deal with torture? He has to, go to a place within where he can't be reached. We'll talk about that some more in the Amen stages, right? So in the external world, we're talking about Venus, Venetian pursuits, art, music, fashion, glamour, beauty, general aesthetics. You're concerned with appearances of things that are, outwardly beautiful. Oh, that looks nice, that type of thing, right? Young women, women in general, but especially younger women, tend to be Het Heru. There is a large focus on playing, a very playful nature, not so much very serious and things like that, which is the total opposite. That would be Seker, and we'll talk about that some more, right? Hollywood would be a good example of a Het Heru or seventh sphere culture, right? We have movies, right? Entertainment, there's glamour, there's zillion pretty women walking around, probably the most in the world, besides Brazil, which is another Het Heru place. External appearances, again, very superficially focused kind of thing, You have the sex culture, right? That sex cells. Sex cells, that's a whole that's the lower nature, or the sixth sphere, or the lower aspects of the sixth sphere, now using the lower faculties for its advantage, right? That's where we talk about Set and how Set uses things in society, right? So he puts before you this thing, sex cells, throwing sex out there to get your gab working, to get your instincts up, so that you may buy the product, or go see the movie, or whatever it may be, listen to the song, whatever it may be. So so that Heru faculty is one you have to be careful, when you kind of see that reading, that you aren't dealing within those negative aspects, that that you're curbing those negative aspects of that pleasure principle within you. All right. Of course, there's more to be said, and we want to let you do your own knowledge on some of this stuff, right? As we said, these little lectures are just, or these little lessons rather, are just, kind of introductions. We want you to go and look up these things so that you can personalize this knowledge. This is, once you personalize these things, these become, great tools at your disposal to be able to, understand things and live your life. So with that, I'm going to say peace, and I'll catch you in the next sphere.